turn it back on. So there are three of you, right?
Yes.
I see. Got it. Okay, I'll be around.
Okay, thanks.
Maybe you'll need some protection. Well, actually, you have some protection, so that's good. You're safe.
Thank you.
All right. See ya. You too.
From here to, I guess, about where Grace Church is, I could see transport.
Your feet freezing. Would it be nice to have global warming right now?
Right. Yeah, but I have this cartoon that I cut out of God knows where. Last December when Trump, ruined Christmas for that 7-year-old girl talking. He's like, well, at 7 years old, do you still believe in Santa Claus? I guess it's sort of marginal. So it's a cartoon of Trump saying to the girl, at 7, you still believe in Santa Claus? And she says, at 72, you still don't believe in climate change?
But there's a difference between the climate change and global warming, by the way. Because climate change, everybody believes in climate change. I mean, it's no brainer. 700 million years ago. Oh, actually, I'll give you another example. Just what? 10 million years ago? No, 10,000 years ago. Same exact spot. We had like mile-high glacier here, right?
The truth is, we don't actually have enough data to know what's freaking normal.
Exactly.
And they lie about someone, because all this carbon tax bullshit is just a way to take our money.
I agree.
The Antarctica is melting because of underwater volcanoes spewing methane.
Hello.
Not because of...
We driving cars, right?
I don't think we should be, digging up oil and gas when we've got renewables, but I also don't believe that global warming is strictly anthropogenic, because there's global warming in the whole solar system. Nobody's driving SUVs on Jupiter. The sun's heating up.
Exactly.
We're old enough to know the sun used to be yellow. Now it's white. Why? It's getting hotter. That heats up everything in the solar system. Duh.
Well, thank you. Thank you. At least we agree on that account.
Well, we agree on many accounts. So what's your name?
Vladimir.
Vladimir. Marcy.
Yes. Marcy. Pleasure.
Where are you from?
Former evil empire. Well, that's what it was.
Where the evil empire?
Well, the Moscow, like the heart of the evil empire.
Moscow, what a beautiful.
Oh my God, what a disgusting place.
Well, I mean, I loved it when I was there in '93. I was there during Glasnost.
Well, of course, when you go to the Red Square, when you take the subway built by slave labor.
Oh, was it?
Built by slave labor. See, when I lived over there, I just couldn't help myself. And obviously, I would take subway every day. I'm from Moscow. And yes, it's beautiful. But I just couldn't help myself thinking, who built it?
Well, you know what? That's how I feel when I go to the seaport and I see the Peking, which was built by slaves and was a slave ship. But my grandfather, one grandfather from Belarus. Grandfather from the Ukraine.
Well, just like my mother is from Ukraine, my father is from Belarus.
One grandmother from Bialystok, Poland, but it was Russian.
My father was, he lived in Bialystok.
Yeah, and they left because being a Jew and being in those countries is not a good thing.
Not a good thing, that's absolutely true.
I mean, they fled with the shirts on their backs, and
I know.
Dogs were very real. Yeah. And I was reading something the other day. Oh, well, the Tsar Nicholas II banned the pogroms. Gee, that's not what I heard in my family with my grandfather and his brother being put in the basement on Sunday mornings and being told to be very quiet because there were men coming to kill them.
I know.
Because on Saturday nights the farmers would riot.
That's true.
Kill every Jewish
That's
boy.
true. Now, when you brought up this, area built by the slaves, the reason, I admire the pyramids, obviously, and I don't have that feeling that, well, it was built by the slaves.
There's historical evidence.
Well, whatever. Let's say other monuments, Colosseum, fine, Colosseum, or whatever, built by the slaves. So I don't have that feeling for a very simple reason. Slavery was a norm at the time. For better or for worse, I mean, it took humankind some time to get to the point where we finally realized that slavery is not good. Even though there's still slavery in Africa, but it's a separate issue.
There's still slavery here.
Well, but we'll talk about it later. But getting back to Moscow, when in 1930s, when the subway system, metro as they call it, was built, slavery ceased to exist in most part of the world by that time. So that's when we look at the subway built at the time when slavery was outlawed, actually even by the Soviet predecessors, by Tsar Nicholas, right? So, or his predecessor. That's when slavery was abolished. And yet, subway system was built by the Soviet slave labor.
I know.
You know. But when you say there's slavery in America, what do you mean by that? In this country?
Right here in Chinatown. There are people.
Oh, that's what I mean.
You know,
Yeah, humans.
And the sex trafficking, the sex slaves.
That's
in my
true.
neighborhood in Crown Heights, these girls, these high school girls. And if you go in the American South, a lot of these beautiful mansions were built with slave labor, but it's a dirty little secret nobody talks about.
I see. Well, what are they doing here? What are they doing here? Supporting Maduro, or I'm just confused.
Well, the
Or
point,
just chilling.
the point is that
Live in the
the
neighborhood.
point is that Venezuela is a sovereign country with a democratically elected president.
Not exactly. No, it's not. That's not true. I mean, come on. You should know better.
Come on, we're going in there to steal the oil.
Wait. Oh, okay. Now we're having some sort of a disagreement.
Where do you get your news from?
Well, I mean, just fact that Chavismo started with the coup. Yes or no?
The what started?
Chavismo. The Chavez, Hugo Chavez, they call it Chavismo.
Well, he was elected 3 times.
Well, but it started with
military coup.
with the military coup.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's how it started. Now, I lived in the USSR. Guess what? Would they call USSR a kind of free democratic country? No. Of course not.
This country isn't free and democratic either.
Well, guess what?
Or elections are rigged.
We had elections in the USSR. And guess what? The party leaders would always get 98% of the votes. I mean, they left off like,
Why do you think there's so many elections in this country that are too close to call? They're freaking rigged.
in favor of left, right, or
The whole thing is rigged. The whole thing's a sham.
have you ever been to?
The left and the right represent the Democrats and Republicans represent the same corporations.
Okay, but have you ever been to a polling station in your life? I mean, ever in a polling station?
I vote every.
No, voting and being in the voting station, being a what is it called?
I've been a poll watcher.
Yeah,
I've been a poll watcher.
poll watcher.
Yeah, I've done that.
So you can do it, right? So you can go to a polling station. It's so easy. I did it myself. Count the votes, get the tally. Is there any country in the world where you actually do it? Isn't that kind of free and fair election when anyone essentially?
But see, the reason they have so many electronic voting machines is so that they can steal the votes. They change them. Everything should be paper ballot here, but it's not in every state.
So you don't believe everything, all the transactions that we're doing today are done electronically. And the most important of those being money.
Yeah,
So if you don't believe electronic transactions, especially billions of dollars, we're on Wall Street and of all the places.
No.
Yes.
Diebold can build ATMs that don't use a penny, but Diebold builds the voting machines that have the software hacked, and all the whistleblowers have been killed for saying that the software was designed to have the vote stolen.
So you don't believe that we are constitutional republic that has fair elections? You don't believe in that?
No.
Is there any country in the world where there? So you would rather believe in fair elections in Venezuela? You said that Chavez was freely elected rather than the free and fair elections in America. Is that right?
Well, I think things are more functional there because Chavez set things up to be more functional there when he was in power.
Functional, you said?
Yeah.
Functional in Venezuela than in the United States.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I've been a dissident in this country for a long time.
A dissident? There are no dissidents in America.
Yes,
Come on.
we do. My phone's been illegally tapped since the 70s for my political activities. I've been tailed by FBI.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
The difference between dissidents in America and the dissidents in USSR,
Well, they killed them, or they sent them to
exactly.
One of my Muscovite friends said to me, Marcy, if you lived in my country, they'd send you to Siberia. I'm like, no doubt.
Well, that's the point number one. So when you say dissident, no, you're expressing your free speech. If it goes against the anti-government activities or whatever, let's assume that you were monitored, but nothing ever happened to you. You were never discriminated against. I mean,
I survived an assassination attempt.
Really, by who? By who?
By God knows who. I was kidnapped and injected with a virus that is not curable by Western medicine because of columns I was writing online.
Maybe there was the Russians. They used Novichok to kill.
So what do you do here, Vladimir?
I'm talking to people like you.
No, I mean, what do you do here in New York?
I live in New York.
I know.
It's the Staten Island.
And you do what? Are you a professional journalist?
No, God forbid, professional journalist. No, just it's curious talking to people or going to places where people congregate and believe in socialism. And I like talking to people who try to convince me that socialism is a good thing when this is the system I escaped from.
Well, the thing is that we have many socialist things in this country. Police departments, fire departments. These are all public library. This is all socialistically funded.
That's what I hear over and over again. Just truncate the word socialist and eliminate the IST part. Social, I have no problem with social programs, of course not. But socialist is a completely different thing. It's always the same kind of not very smart argument. Excuse me.
I'm not here for any particular ideology. I do believe that Venezuela is a sovereign country, and we have no business invading them to steal their oil, which is why I'm here.
Well, we're buying their oil. They have been gladly selling oil. They're selling today, as we speak. Millions of barrels of oil flow into the U.S. market. What?
That's not good enough for Trump. He wants to steal it. And then come straight out and say that.
He cannot do it. It's a capitalist country. Trump doesn't control the oil companies, unlike, by the way, the government-owned PSDVA, whatever it's called in Venezuela, right? That's government control. Exxon
is Iraq for oil?
Of course not.
Libya for oil?
Yeah, but you're switching subject. Exxon is not controlled by Trump. Mobil is not controlled by Trump.
They sure gave you
Getty is not.
money. They sure donated plenty of money.
Well, but it's a different story. It's legal. It doesn't mean that he controls it.
It's not legal beyond a certain amount.
Bezos is anti-Trump. Microsoft, he's not a big fan of Trump either. I'm sure if he wanted to get into oil business, he would have done the same thing. And buy legally oil, I mean, it's capitalism. That's what capitalists do. And by the way, the funniest thing about Venezuela, they need us because they have this heavy oil, I'm sure you read about it. And then they buy gas from us, right?
Refine it. I used to sell oil data, so I know about the different types.
See, there you go.
Light crude, sweet crude, heavy crude, and what.
So you should know better. And you're saying that we're stealing oil. I mean, come on, seriously.
That's why they want to overthrow the. What right do we have to overthrow the Venezuelan government?
We're not throwing Venezuela's government.
That's what they want.
No. We're not doing it. We're absolutely. Well, but you just said the regime change started with Hugo Chavez. There was a coup, an internal issue, right?
Yes, but then he was.
Guaido.
Then he was democratically elected 3 times.
Well, like democratic elections in the U.S. Sorry, of course. But then, Guaido.
Excuse me. Hi, Marty. How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Republicans, Democrats, Senate of Venezuela.
Always got my flag.
All right, stay warm.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, same here.
That's great.
New York.
What was that?
What's your favorite Russian restaurant? New York?
I don't like Russian food. I hate Russia. I hate the Russians. I have everything about
You
it.
don't go to Brighton Beach? Or anything?
Nah.
You don't drink vodka?
I'm very unusual Russian,
I can't say so.
which is a good thing because I hate socialism. I hate communism. Back at the time when you had to love it, it was very dangerous to hate it. But I did. I almost ended up in Gulag, actually. I summoned once at Lubyanka. They pressured me to work for KGB. It was the scariest day in my life. Because unlike, like you said, FBI, whoever was, talking to you, you know that repercussions are, minimal. But over there, forget about it. If they get you on the hook, you're doomed.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been doomed if not for Reagan, Thatcher, Pope John Paul II, and Gorbachev.
I read Gorky Park. I know.
Well,
that was a realistic novel.
Well, to you, again, it's a novel. To me, it was real life.
I know, that's what I mean. I mean, it was very realistic.
I know.
I mean, it gave Westerners a view of what it was really like over there.
Horrible. My friends were actually in Gulag. One of them spent 15 years. 15. You know, for what? For trying to practice Judaism. For trying to take care of the victims of Holocaust. I mean, you're Jewish.
Yeah.
So he wrote a book about it, The Unbroken Spirit.
Well, to this day, Russian Jewish immigrants that I know tell me that they couldn't go to medical school unless they were really, really wealthy. Only the super wealthy Jews get to go to medical school.
It's not just, there was a quota. I wanted to go to medical school. I mean, I am one of those. And I had connections. And even my connections couldn't help me.
Are you
my
Jewish
father's
too?
Yes. Even my father's connections, good connections, couldn't help. It's like there's no, it's so difficult for a Jew to get in the medical field in the USSR.
That's why my family split from there. They're like,
And now you hate America. That's what I understand.
I don't hate America.
Well, yes, you do. With all due respect.
I don't hate America.
Yes, you do.
I want America to actually follow its own constitution.
And
take care of its own people.
It's not in the Constitution taking care of the Constitution. The job of the guy, you should know best. Come on, you're an educated woman. Is protecting its own citizen. And it's different from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's completely different than taking care of, people who are in need of, health care or in need of whatever. And guess what? Charities before the government actually started getting into these kind of social programs, we had charities. They're working just fine. There was no, not the ministry, Department of Education. There were no so many departments until relatively recently, from what I know, and I'm not American born. And it was functioning. People were fine in the 50s.
Well, but they
Roaring
look
20s.
At how systematically since the 50s wages have been destroyed and not kept pace with inflation. You need to find out who Richard Wolff is. He explains it brilliantly. He's a brilliant economist.
Well, I met in person Larry Kudlow, for instance. I'm involved in politics somewhat. And I know what's going on, and trust me, the Trump presidency will come in the history as being one of the best presidencies ever.
I hope you're right.
Ever.
He's destroying the environment right and left.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Drilling in the Arctic. And
What's wrong with drilling?
What's wrong with drilling? Pristine, it destroys ecosystems.
Oh, it's like as if you put you make a hole in the ground. In Alaska, that is the largest state in the United States of America.
Yes, which had one of the biggest oil spills ever.
Teeny. But
Exxon Valdez, they still are cleaning up from that.
Okay, so things happen. Accidents do happen. It doesn't mean that you've stopped civilization. That's what civilization is all about.
We don't need oil.
There's Chernobyl.
Solar, we have wind,
look at Chernobyl. That is really something that will last for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, right? So that's a real disaster. And it's a socialist country, mind you, socialist. This spill, well, it's bad, but guess what? Also, I'm sure you know that, being in the oil field, that the oil is naturally seeping from the bottom of the ocean. I don't know the number, but probably billions of barrels of oil just simply seeping. I mean, that's what it is in nature. And there's bacteria that loves oil, that eats oil.
Yes.
So, accident happened, but again, what's the solution?
Solar
Cars?
power, wind power.
I wish there was a solution. Once it becomes a solution, of course, who would want oil? But at this point, at this juncture, it is not a solution.
It's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Once it becomes a solution, of course, we'll get off the oil needle, as some call
there
it.
have been inventors who invented cars that run on nothing but water, and they've been killed because the oil company doesn't want.
Oh, give me a break. This is capitalism. What about
There have been electric car patents since the 40s, and those inventors were
What
killed.
about the horse lobby? What about the horse lobby? Horse lobby, yeah. I mean, when the car was invented, can you imagine how many horses were driving around until this idea came?
Was in the streets of New York.
Well, but that's besides the
what a
point.
public health hazard that was?
My point is that's how, thank God, capitalism, free market, not actually capitalism is a bad word. Free market works. That's how it works.
Fair market works.
Free and fair market, of course. Free and fair market.
You get no argument from me on
Good.
that.
Good. Nice talking to you again.
Okay,
So it looks like we more agree than disagree when they start thinking, Just change this flag, please. Please, if you really want to.
One of my best friends is a total Trump supporter, but we talk politics all the time, and he said to me that, and he and I have been friends since 1995. And he said, the thing that differentiates me from a lot of people whose politics are similar to mine is that I actually listen to the truth and reason. I don't try to deny it.
Good.
I'm trying to figure out what the truth is.
That makes you so much different from, let's say, a young girl that was over there who, when I tried to, who was criticizing a couple of people over there who says that socialism sucks, and I am from the USSR. I tried to make some sense. I'm not interested in talking to you.
Yeah, see, that's me. Those people, to me, are fascists.
They are.
The people who are trying to shut down conservative speakers at Berkeley, they're fascists.
They are fascists,
The cure for bad speech is more speech, not censorship.
Exactly.
You don't censor people's views you disagree with. Dialectic is how we arrive at truth. I believe in Plato. I'm a law school graduate.
What the hell are you doing here then? With these flag? Not stars, and spangled.
This is who runs the country, not we the people.
Gosh, you're with the wrong crowd, my friend. You're too good to be with these people.
Vladimir.
Vladimir is mine. So yeah.